Thank you for joining us today. The most recently concluded fiscal year is one that not only highlighted just how well run CIRA was as an organization, but how important its mission is to Canada's future. As the entire country was forced to rely on the internet for nearly every aspect of our lives, the importance of CIRA's mission to build a trusted internet for Canadians was brought into sharp focus, and the processes, infrastructure, and strategic direction put in place over the past decade were not only tested, but validated. Over the past 10 years, CIRA has made a number of key strategic decisions that led to this point. While CIRA's mandate in the beginning was relatively simple, as the internet grew, things became more complicated. Domain names were only one piece of the internet puzzle, which included everything from internet governance to global DNS infrastructure. It soon became clear that CIRA's mission to help Canadians get online with a .ca domain required an expanded focus on ensuring that the right ecosystem was in place to ensure that Canadians could thrive online. One element of that expanded mission was identified as policy and advocacy. Canada needed a voice at the table for global discussions on internet-related issues, and the government recognized that CIRA would be ideally positioned. CIRA has filled that role admirably, representing Canada internationally and acting as a convener of policy discussions domestically. Another important strategic decision was to leverage CIRA's technological expertise in operating and protecting the domain name system to expand its product offerings. This decision, which was supported by the board and overwhelmingly ratified by CIRA members, was a conscious response to declining growth in domain names. The shift not only gave CIRA new market opportunities, but it reinforced its core mandate by expanding CIRA's global DNS footprint and produced a new state-of-the-art registry platform for .ca and others. The new revenue streams helped offset the required infrastructure and research and development costs, leading to a better .ca domain for all. Finally, CIRA made the decision about 6 years ago to formalize its commitment to give back to the internet in Canada and to Canadians through the creation of the Community Investment Program. Since 2014, CIRA has invested nearly $8 million in grants through this program to support projects which improve Canada's access to and use of the internet. These grants are complemented by investments in free cybersecurity products like Canadian Shield and initiatives like the IXP strategy and internet performance tests. In short, the operations and strategic direction have evolved quite a bit over the last decade, and these contribute directly to the success of the most recent fiscal year. The organization is clearly operating multiple lines of business successfully. Last December, we saw the registration of the 3 millionth .ca domain, a significant milestone that punctuated a record year of .ca registrations. CIRA's new products are on the way to the goal of 25% of total revenues within 4 years. And investments in community projects also continue to grow, maintaining a steady 7% of growing total revenues. However, there is another way in which CIRA has evolved significantly over the past decade, one that doesn't get as much attention. The level of sophistication of its operations, the way the organization deploys its resources and manages its teams, and even the governance of the board itself. While CIRA has faced a few challenges over the years pursuing these strategic shifts, its path has always been towards more efficiency, more transparency, more innovation, and more diversity. The organization has grown from a team of 2 full-time members at the very beginning to more than 100 today. Throughout the years, there have also been a number of organizational restructurings to ensure that CIRA aligns with the strategic plan and is built for purpose. The board welcomes the changes in the executive cadre. Organizational diversity and culture have been a growing focus. In a highly competitive marketplace, the workplace has to stand out to attract talented, mission-driven people. In 2012, CIRA began surveying its employees to help build a respectful, productive, and inclusive culture that would make it a great place to work. The feedback the organization has received led to continuous improvements throughout the years, and today, CIRA regularly appears on the list of the best employers in both Ottawa and Canada. The board itself has been the catalyst for some of these changes. The board has worked closely with management to articulate the mission impact of major activities so that the benefits are clear and value is not simply judged by revenue generated. Worthwhile activities which build a more trustworthy internet are supported even if they do not cover their costs. The board encouraged better insight into what each major activity or service cost and supported management in the development of the tools to target and measure improvements in cost effectiveness in addition to revenues. Risk became an increasing focus with the shift to multiple lines of business and international clients. We have collaborated over the last 3 years, to refine our risk landscape, to articulate where CIRA needs to be risk adverse and where measured risk-taking makes sense, and to understand our respective roles in risk management and oversight. The board began as a group of volunteers. This changed in 2006 as the board needed to evolve in order to keep pace with the growing organization. The board is deliberate in seeking out the specific skill sets, diverse backgrounds, and the expertise needed at any time. These evolving needs are fed by the board to the arm's length nomination committee for their deliberations. Board views on incumbent directors are also fed anonymously to the nomination committee. The addition of interviews of leading candidates by the nomination committee has also helped ensure high-quality candidates for the elections. The board periodically discusses how we see our roles, responsibilities, and desired conduct, and recently we approved their articulation in the first board charter for CIRA directors. The collaboration between the board and CIRA management has led to an organization with best-in-class operations, clean audits over the past decade, innovative products, and a global reputation as a leader in the industry. CIRA now operates with a level of sophistication that makes it a well-performing organization. CIRA is well respected both nationally and internationally and has truly embraced its mission to build a trusted internet for Canadians. As we live stream this event today to our membership, I'd like to recognize the effort it has taken to transition all engagement activities online over the past year. This is the second entirely virtual AGM, and over the past year, CIRA has held several virtual member events to ensure that the organization stays connected to its members and responsive to the community. These efforts are also reflected in the many updates to the CIRA website to increase transparency, including posting director compensation and expenses, employee salary methodology, and a new transparency page. As I preside over my last AGM as chair, I am confident that CIRA is well positioned to sustain the momentum over the past year and continue its core mission of providing a safe, stable, and secure .ca domain space for Canadians. On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank the CIRA staff and management for their efforts and dedication. And in particular, I'd like to express my confidence in and appreciation of the leadership provided by Byron Holland, the President and CEO. I'm proud of the role we have played in helping CIRA become the well-run organization it is today. I wish the board and my successor smooth sailing, and I look forward to seeing CIRA's strategic plan continue to unfold over the coming years. Thank you. Over to you, Byron.
Well, thank you, Helen. And I'd like to welcome everybody who has joined us here today for CIRA's annual general meeting. Your participation, passion, and candor are essential to our mission. I'd like to start by thanking the entire CIRA staff and management team, as well as the board of directors, for their hard work and dedication through what has been one of the most challenging, remarkable, and successful fiscal years in CIRA's history. Fiscal year 21 was unlike any other. As the first full year in this new normal, there was uncertainty, fear, and some real questions about whether the internet was ready to handle the pressures to become literally the lifeboat of our society. A little more than a year later, there's cautious optimism on the horizon. We've learned some valuable lessons about our own society, and in many ways have reinforced what we've known all along, that the internet is truly a critical resource for all Canadians. The success of CIRA in the last fiscal year was certainly buoyed by the pandemic, but we were only in the position to ride that wave because of the careful planning, strategic direction, and operational excellence put in place over the years prior. Indeed, in many ways, fiscal year 21 was a validation of the direction CIRA has been headed in for several years now. And while CA is and will always be at the heart of our mission, we realized a few years back that diversifying our mission to include areas like DNS and cybersecurity and registry services not only allowed us to better leverage our existing infrastructure, but also strengthened our core mandate. While getting as many Canadians online with .ca domains is still the primary mission, it's hard to imagine that Canadians could be very successful if they're in their online endeavors if they only had access to slow, unreliable internet connections, networks full of malware, and couldn't rely on a robust global DNS infrastructure. Ultimately, our investments in DNS, cybersecurity, and registry services have allowed us to both leverage the existing .ca infrastructure, reducing direct costs, and reinvest and expand on that same infrastructure to provide a more resilient, responsive, and secure .ca domain. In short, it was the long-term planning of CIRA management combined with the ongoing support of the board and the execution of our world-class team that's led us to this point. While we couldn't have predicted that our entire society would suddenly be reliant on the internet for everything from teaching our kids and consulting with our doctors to celebrating birthdays and mourning funerals, fortunately, we had put the pieces in place that allowed us to be ready for this moment. And the results speak for themselves. We saw a record year for .ca registrations as we passed the 3 million mark, and saw year-over-year growth that demonstrated just how much .ca domains are valued by the thousands of Canadian citizens and thousands of small businesses who were forced to pivot online to survive. Recognizing the difficulty of some small businesses faced in pivoting quickly online to endure these pandemic lockdowns, CIRA also partnered with Digital Main Street to provide several thousand .ca domain names in its Shop Here program, which supports entrepreneurs, artists, and makers who are coming online for the first time. On the DNS and cybersecurity side, we are well on our way to reaching our goal of having 25% of our revenues come from non.ca products by fiscal 2025. As Canadians shifted their entire lives online due to the pandemic, we launched Canadian Shield, a free, industrial-grade, consumer-level DNS and privacy service that in its first year has already achieved more than 150,000 users. You know, having the entire world shift online to the internet during the pandemic was, unfortunately, also a big opportunity for bad actors. But CIRA was there, a Canadian guardian, providing protection and support for the thousands of Canadian citizens and businesses that need it. And really, that's part of what makes CIRA special, how we connect our mission to our values. We live those values by giving back to the community. And since 2014, CIRA has invested nearly $8 million through our grants program to support projects, academics, community groups, all working to help improve Canada's internet. That work came into sharp focus this year as the rural-urban divide became a key issue in the media, the halls of government, and most importantly, for the thousands of rural, Indigenous, and remote communities that require quality access to participate fully in digital life. CIRA was proud to support this initiative through our Internet Performance Test, which was leveraged by many of those groups, communities, and governments to identify gaps in broadband coverage and advocate for more investment in the future. In many ways, CIRA strives to be a reflection of the internet that we represent, Canada's internet. That means an internet that is safe, reliable, green, and inclusive. We work every day to put those values into motion. Our new strategic plan has put a spotlight on how CIRA can leverage not only its infrastructure, but its leadership on the internet to help Canada live up to its climate change responsibilities. We've really only just begun, and quite frankly, we started later than we would have liked to. But our commitment is not only to reduce our own carbon footprint to zero, but to become a voice for change and encourage others in the technology community to do so. We know that for the internet to be truly inclusive, it must reflect the people that use it every day, all Canadians. And CIRA takes this commitment to diversity and inclusion very seriously. We believe that diversity isn't just the right thing to do, it's the right way forward if we want to best serve our mandate, our customers, and our communities. Diversity of thought, experience, and background makes us better. We believe in full spectrum diversity that includes not just identity, but ideas as well. And our commitment goes beyond our own employees. We are striving to ensure that we raise the voices of all communities across the Canadian internet, be they urban or remote, rich or poor, integrated or marginalized, and provide them with the tools, resources, and protection to succeed in the digital world. Finally, I want to reflect on what has led us to this moment. The internet is many things to many people. And from the early days, when the internet was emerging from government labs and university campuses to become the cultural and commercial phenomenon that it is today, the internet has always relied on a wide spectrum of voices, opinions, and perspectives to govern its operations. That model, the multi-stakeholder model, the one that includes governments, businesses, registrars, users, nonprofits, civil society, and many other groups in its decision-making, is one of the core reasons for the success of the internet. CIRA's governance reflects this multi-stakeholder philosophy. And as I speak to this diverse audience of advocates, entrepreneurs, academics, administrators, and creatives, I am reminded of the wise words of Michael Binder, the Industry Canada bureaucrat, the Assistant Deputy Minister at the time, who is literally one of the founders of .ca and CIRA. In his now infamous Binder letter, he wrote that CIRA should have, and I quote, a balance of representation, accountability, and diversity on the board of directors for all categories of stakeholders. On a side note, CIRA has just released a history of CIRA video. It's on our website under the history section, and it provides a really interesting, direct from the founders' mouths take on how CIRA came to be, which really reflects the genesis of the internet itself. So I encourage all of you to take a look at that. Coming out of this unprecedented year, I'm confident that CIRA is well positioned to tackle the next set of challenges that the internet throws at us, and look forward to working with our members, stakeholders, and communities to continue to build a trusted internet for all Canadians. But before I wrap up, I would also like to thank the members of CIRA's board, including our departing members Matt Gamble and Ryan Black, and particularly our chair, Helen McDonald, for her leadership. As this is Helen's last year on CIRA's board, I would like to thank her for years of service, counsel, and dedication that have contributed immeasurably to CIRA's success. On a personal note, I'd like to thank her for being a coach and a mentor, someone who challenged and certainly held me to account, but also someone who encouraged and supported me through both the tough and wonderful times. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, everybody.